From Washington Technology Magnet School, we present another edition of high school boys basketball. It's the Section 4 3A Championship, and it's a rematch from a thrilling contest a year ago. The number 1 seed Columbia Heights Highlanders hopes to return to the Class 3A state tournament, but first they'll have to get through the number 2 seed Mahtomedi Zephyrs. Hi everyone, I'm Mike Pete, and all by myself talking to myself, but that's all right because I've got all of you fans and neighbors who are watching this, and I thank you for joining us one last time this season. This is a rematch from a year ago. Columbia Heights came from behind to win it, despite losing their top player Deundra Roberson to injury. But the situation has changed somewhat. Last year, it was Mahtomedi, the experienced team, having a senior-heavy squad with 9 seniors. This time, it's Columbia Heights who has the experience, with the likes of Quentin, Hardrict, Christian Kelly, Wendell Matthews. They're not very deep. They only play about 6 or 7, but the front 6, all very capable players. The Highlanders love to attack, go on fast breaks, run up the score. Pace is going to be key, and for the Highlanders to repeat as Section 4 3A champions, they'll want to make this a track meet. But Mahtomedi, you have to give them props for getting this far with a completely revamped team. As we noted, they graduated 9 seniors a year ago. A lot of folks thought this would be a rebuilding year, and while it certainly is a rebuilding year, they found a lot of new faces to take over. Folks like Shay, who put up 23 points, had an outstanding first half in the win over Tino Grace. Karmoga Lero knocked down some key 3-pointers to keep Mahtomedi in the hunt with Tino Grace and stave off an Eagles comeback bid to win in overtime. And speaking of overtime, it was Javon Hadley who provided the heroics. He didn't finish as the highest score, but Mahtomedi, they've got 5 players who average double digits, and that balance is going to be key as they try to make their way to state, something that eluded them a year ago as the 1 seed. We'll have the starting lineups in a moment. This is the Section 4 3A Championship.
It's Semifinal Mahtomedi, your starting lineups. First, on the visiting scoreboard, Mahtomedi Zephyrs. Senior guard, number 1, Timmy Liquid. And the home team, the Columbia Heights Highlanders. Senior center, number 4, Wendell Matthews. For the Zephyrs, sophomore guard, number 13, Javon Hadley. For the Highlanders, senior guard, number 5, Quentin. For the Zephyrs, senior forward, number 20, Shay. For the Highlanders, senior guard, number 10, Deundra Roberson. For the Zephyrs, senior forward, number 24, Karmoga. Lero. For the Highlanders, senior forward, number 11, Christian Kelly. And for the Zephyrs, junior forward, number 35, Devin Meltzer. And for the Highlanders, junior guard, number 24, Davis. And your coaching staff for Mahtomedi, the assistants are George Pelkey, Joe Pelkey, and Rob Reynolds. Head coach for the Zephyrs is Steve Newman. For Columbia Heights, the assistants are Deundra Jenkins, Matt Bird, Steve Burton, and Aaron Goff. Head coach for the Highlanders is Willie Brazil. And your officials for the side of the Minnesota State High School League, they are Stone Snyder, Matt Dorfeld, and Brad Penny. Don't forget, we'll have an award ceremony, medals presented to both teams after this one. The winner, of course, goes to the Minnesota High School League State Tournament.
These two teams met in the regular season. Columbia Heights won that one 71-63. They had to come from behind, though. They trailed by 4 at halftime. The Highlanders wearing their navy, being the 1 seed. They wear the home jersey. Mahtomedi wearing their white. Winner goes on to the state tournament, where the quarterfinals will be held at Williams Arena. I spoke with Willie Brazil last night, and he mentioned to this Columbia Heights team, much like a year ago, he said, enjoy this moment. We've got a foul. That's going to send Devin Melzer to the line. He said, enjoy this moment because not every team makes it to the section final, which is a hypothetical Sweet 16 if we were playing in the big tournament. Melzer gets us started. In the postseason, he's averaging 9 points through 2 games. Knocks down both. Free throw shooting, we'll keep an eye on that. Mahtomedi struggled a little bit, 19 of 30. Tino Grace, of course, hit 25 in a row before missing. Scramble for the ball. We've got a jump, and the arrow favors Columbia Heights. Elbow J, swish. Quentin Hardrict with the bucket. The little engine that could for this team. Zephyr swinging around. Jack Shay had a strong first half against Tino Grace. Pounded the paint. He racked up 19 points. Tino adjusted their defense to contain him in the second half. He ended up with 23, just 4 second-half points. But the guy who's inbounding it, Karmoga Lero, stepped up beautifully. Hit down 3 triples and helped Mahtomedi stave off a comeback bid. Although Tino knocked down a couple of threes, and Shay looks to fire and misses. Tino hit 2 late threes to come back from 6 down to force overtime. And so Columbia Heights would appear to have the edge if you go by those metrics, but in single elimination games, it's all about execution. And these two are highly familiar with each other. Javon Hadley with the delayed post up. Hardrict sees a lane, attacks, no good. Hadley with the board. Hadley, as we noted in the open, the hero of the semifinal round. Highlanders amp up the pressure. They get the turnover. They try the long skip. Columbia Heights with the save. Kelly with the reverse. Can't get it to fall. Hadley or Melzer with the board. And Lindquist was tripped from behind. Nothing called. It's Columbia Heights ball. Well, that's not going to sit well. As we noted, the Highlanders play about 6 or 7. Nice move by Hardrict to the lane. He eventually corrals his own rebound. The other guy you'll see for the Highlanders is Jarvis Wright in terms of notable minutes. 15-footer, swish. Deundra Roberson. Roberson on a mission. He couldn't participate in the state tournament a year ago. Lero fakes the 3, finds Shay on the back door. He goes up and in. You have to like what you're seeing out of Mahtomedi thus far. Again, they like to do it with balance. And it's 6-4 in favor of the Zephyrs, but we have a long way to go. Davis, 3-ball, swish. And we have a stoppage in play. We'll get a sub in. Amir Davis He's a gift, in the words of Willie Brazil. He had a firecracker explode in his face as a child. He could only see out of one eye, but Willie told me he would love to have 14 people like Amir Davis. And with the vision he has out of one eye, imagine if he had both, but Amir already an inspiring story if you're a Columbia Heights fan. Zach Centers, one of the first off the bench for the Zephyrs. He's on the floor wearing number 10. Islanders with an early 7-6 lead. Again, pace is going to be key. Mahtomedi would prefer not to let this get to a track meet, but as we saw, they can win those high-scoring games. And Javon Hadley posts up on Matthews. And Hadley off to a strong start. Strong take. Roberson off the glass and in. Back and forth this game goes. Who will win? We'll know in a couple of hours. Pass deflected. Centers retrieves it. Shay will wait for help. Melzer out to Shay on the skip. Goes up again, can't get the bounce. Battle for the rebound, won by Melzer. Didn't have a great angle though, a little too far underneath. Still got it, too strong. And the ball pinballs around before Matthews corrals it. This has become one of the big rivalries, even though they're not conference opponents, simply because of their history. They played in the section final 2 years in a row. Mahtomedi has ended up with Totino Grace in the semifinal round. Columbia Heights, they beat Johnson last year, knocked off Fridley this year. Timmy Lindquist hit with a foul. Hardrict at the line for two. And subs coming in. The Zephyrs are going to try to use depth to their advantage. And give me 1 second. I got to find out who number 50 is. Number 50 is Cole Chapman. He normally wears 31. I'm guessing the jersey wasn't available. Number 21 is Bjorn Kaster. Hardrict made both free throws, and he gets the floater to fall. So Hardrict up to a quick 7. 6, I should say. It's 13-8. Highlanders going for the strip, and they get hit with a foul.
Deundra Roberson, first personal.
And we'll go against Roberson is first. Keith Newman rotating a few guys in and out. Again, looking to get maybe more of an edge here than he did a year ago. Long skip, 3 on the way from Centers, does not fall, and the rebound goes to Roberson. Islanders looking to get some separation here. And they are the favored team because of their athleticism. But Willie Brazil not going to overlook this Mahtomedi team. Yeah, nothing but praise for what they were able to do this season. Whoa! Roberson with the friendly bounce, and I mean friendly. Here comes the press again. Centers, up, and in. Centers using his body, contorting his way to the rim. 3 on the way. Davis can't hit it. And the rebound to Centers. Mahtomedi looking for the leak out. Pass a little too strong. First of 2 section finals, as is the custom here for Washington Technology Magnet. Right. The long skip to Hardrict, and he'll back off. Bouncing it over to right. No good. Rebound Hadley. Lero for three. Off the heel. The rebound ends up to centers. And Shay has an easy two. A fortuitous bounce for the Zephyrs. Right, sees a lane. He'll go for it. And he comes up long. Shay couldn't control the board. And we're going to have a tie-up here. Columbia Heights fans wanted to travel. Hardrict with the poke and the score. He goes up to 8. Columbia Heights, they can do that to you. They bring the pressure up as soon as the opponent moves it up. Lindquist can't get the leaner. Columbia Heights with the overpass. Melzer missed everything. At least he missed the bucket. We're going back and forth. A whole lot of nothing right now. Shay, one-on-one, beats Davis to the rim. Shay's inside presence, a big help in the semifinals. He's averaging 21.5 in the postseason. Wright prefers to shoot three-pointers. He's the long-distance threat for this team. But a lot of highlight makers. Hardrict, Matthews, Roberson, the big scores. 9:43 to go, 17-14. Wright for three is short. Rebound ends up in the hands of Melzer. Centers, kick out. Lero, pump fake, bullseye. As Scott Van Pelt would tell you, the pump fake works only every single time. And we're tied at 17. Davis out to Roberson. Roberson the kick out to Hardrict. Up, and that rims out. Mahtomedi can take the lead here. And they will with the cutting Melzer. So Mahtomedi had the early jump. They retake the lead 19-17 after trailing by 5. But as we noted, this was going to be a back and forth game. These two teams have played each other close over the last 3 meetings. I don't expect this one to be any different, as we get a few latecomers here to Washington Technology Magnet. Hardrict up to 8, averaging 15 in the postseason. Again, this is a team that has a lot of ways to beat you with their starting 5. They don't have a deep bench, so that's going to be an issue next year for Willie Brazel, since 4 of his starting 5 are seniors, much like Mahtomedi had a year ago. Roberson, top of the key, swish. And that's a fine ATO sequence for the Highlanders. Roberson goes up to 9. And it's 20-19. Centers. Lost the ball. Hardrict got in there for the poke. Roberson scores on the fast break. And another steal. This time, it's Matthews. Kelly is fouled from behind by Hadley. Christian Kelly. Others might count him out in the scouting report, but the bigger the game, the bigger he plays. And Mahtomedi will call a timeout. As the Highlanders respond to Mahtomedi's run, looking to get some separation as well. 7:57 to go. As we noted, Mahtomedi held the lead until late in the second half, and Columbia Heights, without Roberson, managed to make their way into state. They didn't last long. They lost in the quarterfinals with an injury-depleted team. And there's no telling where Columbia Heights will be seated. They did lose a couple of games when players were suspended for academic reasons. Willie Brazel is very keen on that. He doesn't want them to lose sight of the big picture. And one of those losses was to Minneapolis Roosevelt. And so while they're still in the top 10 in the Class 3A rankings, if they get through the state, they could be unseeded. They were ranked as high as third. And if you're unseeded, of course, then you are at the mercy of wherever you end up playing. De La Salle and Austin, if De La Salle gets through, figures to be the 1, Austin the 2. Kelly missing the front end. So both teams have used a timeout. And Kelly blanks both. Break for the Zephyrs. But let's see if they can get a little mojo back. And that's why coaches will call a timeout. Chapman again wearing number 50 instead of 31. There's the Columbia Heights pressure again. Hardrict forcing the steal, at least getting it anyway. Right for 3. Everybody was ready to erupt. But Roberson hustles for the O-board, and another possession for the Highlanders. Roberson, catch, release. 3 is long. Rebound goes to Mahtomedi, but center's rolled over. You can't do that. So the Highlanders will hang on to it. Not a organized student section compared to some other games I've covered. 3 ball. Kelly can't in from the corner. And not to say there aren't some students here, I just don't see any particular theme. That will be a charge. Melzer runs over Roberson.
Offensive foul on the Zephyrs, number 35, Kevin Melzer. First personal foul, team third. Amir Davis back in for the Highlanders.
High low for right and 1. Matthews with the dime.
Shay, first personal.
Most folks are a bit perplexed to see Wright camp out along the arc. But in the words of Columbia Heights' head coach, he's a big guy who thinks he's a guard. And he puts the Highlanders up by 6. Their largest lead thus far. 6.5 to play in the first. Shay out to Lero. Here's Lindquist. Lero. Now Lindquist again. Drives to the rim and scores. Matthews, that's Hardrict, I should say, missing the three-pointer. Lero with the shovel pass to Melzer. Lee gets a little separation, and that's just enough for him to get the finger roll. Hadley up to 6. Davis throws it away right into Lero's hands. Hardrict fell over. Lindquist, the shovel pass to Melzer for the score. And just like that, the Zephyrs even this up at 25. Mahtomedi hanging with Columbia Heights. Hardrict with the fake. Right. No good. Rebound ends up in the hands of Lero. Zephyrs can retake the lead. Lindquist will go all the way, and he'll have to do it at the line. So we see Mahtomedi not afraid to go coast to coast here. And as we noted, Mahtomedi not afraid. To get things going offensively.
Deundra Roberson back in for the Highlanders.
Lindquist blanks on both. He was averaging 10 points in the postseason games, and we're still at 25. Roberson blocked by Melzer. Mahtomedi with an overthrow on the leak out. Hardrict will get another try, no good. Roberson gets the rebound. The Columbia Heights fans still highly animated. Roberson for 3. Short, rebound Lero. And he's double teamed. Kelly with the strip and the run out. That gets him on the board. Melzer missed the 3. Hadley is there with the strong side O-board. Through traffic. Highlanders with another transition look. Matthews will go to the line for 2. Wendell Matthews, we haven't heard much from him yet. His head coach believes him to be the most underrated forward in the state. Made the all-tournament team in the Class 3A field last year. Plays a lot taller than he is, and Willie Breezel thinks he could be a better college player than he is now. Averaging 17 points in the postseason. He scored 12 in the regular season meeting with the Zephyrs. Matthews gets the back end, so that pushes the Highlanders' lead to 3. But as we've seen, no lead right now is safe. Lero misses the elbow J. Dead ball rebound to the Highlanders. You see a few slogans on the hoodies of the Columbia Heights fans, including "One Team, One Dream." The Highlanders on their warm-ups have the Heights basketball hashtag. Hashtags, of course, all the rage in this decade. Melzer open for a minute. Got the push off. Shay can't finish. There may have been some theatrics on the part of Roberson, but we play on. Steps into a J, and that's no good. And Matthews hit on the foul from behind. That's just the 4th on the Highlanders. No team in the penalty yet. So Matthews picks up his 2nd. He'll have to hit the bench for now. And one of the seldom used bench players going in, number 3, Jordan Jones, presumably to keep the starters out of foul trouble. There's 2:05 left in the half. Shay, high floater, no good, gets his own miss, and he's fouled by Jones. So Shay will go to the line.
Now there's foul number 3, Jordan Jones. First personal, team 5th.
Both teams with 1 to give. Shay with 6. And free throws. These two could learn a thing or two from Charlie Jacob and Totino Grace. Shay gets the back end. Right. Drives. Can't get the bounce. Rebound, Chapman, 2-point game. Again, this is the style of play that Mahtomedi prefers. Centers was hit as he fired the 3, nothing called. Officials letting a lot of contact go, uncalled so far, but I haven't seen anything too malicious or chippy. Lero, deep 3, is there. Lero, the lefty, loves to set up on the left wing. Zephyrs have a 1-point lead. Davis inside the line, can't bank it, and the rebound goes to Lero. Will Mahtomedi hold, or will they go for it? Lero had an opening, lost the ball. Roberson, here comes the show. It's showtime. "20 seconds. Centers in trouble, and he's hacked. The Highlanders did have a foul to give, and it will be a side out. I didn't think they would give him the shooting motion. That's the 2nd on Jones. Again, Jones in there partially to absorb fouls. Five seconds. Hadley fires. No good. So, After a frenetic, exciting first half, it's the Columbia Heights Highlanders with a 1-point lead over the Mahtomedi Zephyrs with a state tournament slot on the line in the Section 4 3A championship. Columbia Heights, it's been a two-man show. Roberson and Hardrict chipping in most of the points. Mahtomedi, a more balanced attack. Jack Shay leads with 7. And then you've got a trio of 6s, Hadley, Lero, and Melzer. Roberson with 13, Hardrict with 8 for the Highlanders. We'll take a break and show you some highlights from the semifinals to demonstrate or illustrate how these two teams got here, and we'll figure out who will move on to the state tournament next week at Williams Arena. You're watching the Section 4 3A Boys Basketball Championship, Columbia Heights over Mahtomedi, 30-29. We saw that a couple days ago. Nice take. The entry feed for Melzer was no good. Jack Shay cleans it up. Got in there for the block on Will Schmidt. And he wants to go all the way. Banks it off the glass. Lero. Backdoor to centers. Gets the roll. He'll fire the 3. Bullseye! It's been said that from the semifinal round on, nothing comes easy. But Zach Centers makes that three-pointer look easy. Not so hot in the second. Krieger for 3. Got it! Long distance shooting. That's what can happen. Ball is loose. And it's picked up. Jacob. Yes! Can tie or take the lead here. They still have options. Lindquist. Count it! Hadley has to retrieve it. 9 seconds. Looking to go baseline. Tries to draw the foul. No bounce. Rebound. Put back. No time left for the Eagles. Mishki. No! Hadley, the game winner! And getting the bank off the glasses, Wendell Matthews as he hits the mid-range jumper. And a steal. It's Kelly. Finds a cutting Hardrict to the rim. Ecstatic with jubilation. Ridley looking for the answer. They'll get it on the three-pointer by Gomar Powell. Here the fans say no foul. The Highlanders do have one to give if they need it. 3 on the way. Bullseye! Nate Soto. Used these bleachers in a while. Roberson draws the contact. Kelly with the follow-through. What the cheers are about. Now they don't announce it in section semifinals. Oh, they're gonna be happy with that one. Roberson with authority. But it will be a victorious trip home. They'll run out the clock. They hold Fridley to 14 points in the second half. Columbia Heights. Second half about to start between Columbia Heights and Mahtomedi. Winner moving on to the Class 3A state tournament next week at Williams Arena. Columbia Heights leading Mahtomedi 30-29. We went over the first half numbers just before going to break in the regular season meeting. 5 Columbia Heights players reached double digits. Roberson at 22, so he's off to a similar start here. Lero led the Zephyrs with 15. Jack Shay had 9, along with 8 rebounds. Centers also came close to a double-double that night, 10 and 9. So we shall see if everything holds up. Again, these two are known for some close competitive matchups. And when the game concludes, we'll have the award presentation. Some folks are still filing in after hitting up the concession stands. We have a tie-up, Mahtomedi with the arrow. Now, Willie Brazil, not the biggest fan of this facility, mainly with how the rims are set up. He feels if you're not perfect on the spot, the ball won't go in. But Jack Shay lays it in to start the second half. 31-30. Davis left alone. Bullseye off the backboard. Usually when you're in the corner like that, you don't bank it off, but it goes in, and that's good for three. Heights on the steal. Hardrict with the finish. So Hardrict gets up to 10. A quick 5 points for the Highlanders. Another jump. Columbia Heights with the arrow. We've seen this throughout the game. Columbia Heights goes on a surge, only for Mahtomedi to answer back. And Matthews is fouled. They'll shoot two.
Second personal, team first. Wendell Matthews with two Highlanders.
Matthews did not score a field goal in the first half. He had 12 in the regular season meeting. And as we noted, averaging 17 thus far in the postseason. Matthews misses both. But the Highlanders stay with it. Christian Kelly gives him 2 points the old-fashioned way. Keith Newman will call a timeout. They have 3 remaining, 37-31. And so the Highlanders, as we've noted, they've been throwing out the first punch. Mahtomedi has been able to counter them thus far, and they have the talent to do it. Keith Newman praised the craftsmanship of the players who came in behind the 9 seniors from a year ago. That's not easy to do, to replace that much scoring, rebounds, everything. I mean, it's effectively a brand new team that made their way to the section final, you know, the last 16 in Section 4-3A. And Mahtomedi picked up some big wins in the Metro East. You may recall they had a big one over at St. Thomas Academy. And you get a lot of tough competition with Tartan and North St. Paul having solid years this year. Lindquist swings it around. Now Hadley has it, the hero of the semis. Kick out, Lindquist for 3. Bullseye. That's what you want on an ATO play. And the Zephyrs cut the margin down to 3. Hardrict, the skip to Matthews, and he's fouled. He'll shoot 2. But Wendell Matthews has struggled thus far from the line, just 1 of 4, and as we've noted, no field goals. That's the second personal foul on Melzer. Foul trouble, not a serious issue yet. We have a few with 2, but nobody reached the bonus in the first half. We'll see what happens here. Again, a lot of action, though, when uncalled, and we'll see if the officials are a little tighter with the whistles. And Willie Brazel, when he talked to me yesterday, he said that can influence how Columbia Heights handles a game because they like to attack, they like to press, and against when they have officiating crews that call it a little tighter, it can put them in a bind. Islanders hustling on the O-boards. Matthews still can't get that first field goal. Finally does on the 3rd try. So Matthews with a delayed 3-point play. Roberson with the steal. Kelly is fouled by Lindquist. That Columbia Heights press causing So many problems for the Zephyrs. And that's getting the Heights fans into a frenzy. Kelly to shoot 2. He had 4 points in the first half. Scored 12 in the regular season meeting. Averaging 12.5 in the section playoffs thus far. He splits, but once again, the Highlanders hustle. Well, it doesn't get them a rebound that time, but they're going after it. Pressure results in another steal. Roberson, no good. Hadley breaks his way out of a trap, skips it over to Melzer, and that will be a goaltend. Ball went on the way down when the block occurred. So Melzer will get credit for the basket. And that brings this total to 8. So it's 41-36. Basket's good following the goaltending call. Ball went on the way down, and you cannot deflect it when the ball begins its downward trajectory. Matthews missed the floater, and the rebound goes to Lindquist. He finds Shay on the leak out, and Shay gets the roll. Mahtomedi may need a big half from him. And the Zephyrs still refusing to go away. Hardrict, pump fake, 15-footer. That's short, rebound goes to Lindquist. Guarded by Kelly. Again, Columbia Heights bringing the trap again. They break it, the Zephyrs do, but Shay can't get the finish. Transition play for Hardrict. Again, Columbia Heights thrives on the fast break. Lindquist finds Hadley. They'll set up Lindquist for 3. That's short. Shay, rebound, put back. So Jack Shay with the presence down low. Much like he offered in the semifinals last Saturday. Backdoor play for the Highlanders. Davis couldn't corral the pass cleanly. He finds Kelly, short, and he'll shoot 2. But the Highlanders are drawing fouls here and working their way to the bonus, although they've had trouble knocking them in. Kelly has struggled at the line. Well, most of the team has. 6 of 13. They've compensated with their hustle on the offensive side of the glass. Here's something interesting. The Highlanders, under Willie Brizzle's first stint with the team, they were the last team to knock off De La Salle in the playoffs, before the Islanders won 6 in a row. And of course, everyone has their opinion about whether De La Salle should class up or not, but that's an interesting trivia question. Being the last team to knock off De La Salle in a postseason game. Blocking foul is called on the Highlanders. Of course, in 2012, the Islanders, that run of 6 in a row began with a buzzer beater. Had that not happened, they probably still would have won a few titles anyway, but that was one you'll never forget. Longest streak of anyone in the state tournament in terms of consecutive titles. Breaking the mark of 4 held by Larry McKenzie, who also set it in 3A with Minneapolis Patrick Henry, of course. McKenzie working on a new streak at Minneapolis North. Chapman with the rejection. But the Highlanders stay with it. Hardrict looking for space. 43-40. 12-13 to go in the 4-3A championship. Ball is loose. And it ends up in the hands of Matthews. And Willie Brazel will call a timeout to get his Highlanders out of a jam. 12:04 remains with the state tournament slot on the line. Again, we'll have the award presentation. And as we noted, Brazil feels Mahtomedi one of the best teams this year and certainly one of the best performances. But Brazil took some time off from Columbia Heights, went over to Kennedy. His last season, the Eagles went 0-27, 0-27. Did not get a single win. And Brazil told me it was the most humbling year in his coaching career because he learned that it isn't about you. It's about how you can influence your players and set them up to be future leaders. And he feels the group he has will fit that mark. He had said selfishly if a junior college or a small college came calling and he was able to bring these guys with, he would consider the job. Because the senior class, they want to go together. Package deals are becoming more common, as you know, at the higher levels. One thing's for sure, even if 4-3A doesn't bring the packed house like the 4A classes do, or some of your other rivalries like North St. Paul, Tartan, and De La Salle, Cretin, and the Columbia Heights fans bring a lot of energy. Deundra Roberson scores his first piece of action in the second half offensively. Roberson times the pass and slams it home. Good morning, St. Paul. Had to get that in at least once before the season was out. Highlanders extend the lead to 7. Backdoor, and Shay is fouled from behind.
Quentin, Hardrict, first personal, team second.
And if you're Mahtomedi, you have to adjust to the point of attack here. The Highlanders are going to bring the pressure at the top, no matter where it is. Shay splits, 6-point game. But as we said before, the Highlanders go on a mini run. Miscommunication on the pass there. Highlanders go on a mini run. Zephyr's able to counter. Lero drives, floater no good. Shay for 3, off the heel. Hadley can't corral the rebound. Hardrict. The skip over to Roberson. Pulls up. No good. And the rebound going to centers. He tried to hook up with Hadley, but pass was too far. Davis, double teamed, and Centers comes up with the steal. And you see Mahtomedi bringing more help. Trying to neutralize that trap that the Highlanders like to run, and that's going the other way. Offensive foul on centers.
Offensive foul on the Zephyrs. Number 10, centers, first personal.
That's his first. Zephyrs with 1 to give, 9:55 to go.
Jarvis right. Back in, Highlanders.
Kelly, backdoor to Matthews for the score. 49-41. Largest lead of the game for the Highlanders. Lero almost threw it away. Hardrict was waiting for it. Like we said, Highlanders do a great job of anticipation. Hadley out to Lero for 3. Bullseye. Lero with the rainbow tray. He has 3, and that's a badly needed basket for the Zephyrs, who trail by 5 now. Roberson finds a cutting Matthews, who scores. Wendell Matthews picking things up here in the second half. But we still have a long way to go. Lero guarded closely now. They are not going to let him break free for a triple. Chapman floats it in. Hadley had a couple of options as the Highlanders moved to trap him. Lero was open on the wing. Chapman was open down low. And Chapman floats it in. Highlanders looking for the answer, and Matthews will give it to them. Matthews. We got Lindquist, count it. So Wendell Matthews stepping up his game in the second half, but Timmy Lindquist with a strong take. And he has a chance to make it a 4-point game pending the free throw. Both teams with 3 timeouts remaining. Lindquist completes the 3-point play. And he goes up to 8. Four-point game. As we said, every time the Highlanders get a little breathing room, Columbia Heights ends up witnessing a counter run. The Zephyrs will not go away. Lindquist for 3. Yes! Lindquist up to 11. Which matched his total in the regular season game, and it's a 1-point game. With the answer, no 3-ball from Kelly, and the Zephyrs can take the lead here. They have not done so since 31-30. Well, it's been about 10 minutes, but again, this game has been back and forth.
Deundra Roberson, third personal foul. Team fourth.
Whoever gets through will likely be unseeded when you look at the rankings. But you got to get through to the state tournament first and then worry about who you'll face later. Seedings will be announced on Saturday. Melzer blocked. Matthews, though, sent it right back to him. Lindquist. No good. Lero lunges for the offensive rebound. Once again, Heights looking to trap at the point. Lero tried to line up a 3. Islanders aren't going to give him that space. Now Lindquist working off the screen. Tried to skip to Shay, but it pinballs around. Islanders on the run. Kelly with the score. 3-point game. Hadley. Melzer out to Shay. He's going to go for it. Maybe he started his attack a little too long, a little too far out. Right. They'll give him the blocking foul and one. Jarvis Wright. The official waited to make the call there for a split second. And Melzer hit with his 4th personal foul. The Zephyrs also out of fouls to give. Willie Brazel will call a timeout. It looks like fatigue starting to afflict his Highlanders, even though they do have a 5-point lead and could make it 6 with the free throw. 5:54 left. 57-52. Jarvis Wright, the big guy who believes he's a guard. He's often put in to break presses. You don't see that a lot out of Mahtomedi. And even though he can get trigger happy, a lot of three-point shooters do. They've won more games the Highlanders have with his wrist than lost them. And a couple of other notes here. Deundra Roberson earlier this season risked his life to save someone in a house fire and has the most emotional incentive out of this team. Of course, everybody wants to go back to state because it's an experience you love to have. And if someone wants to score buckets, Roberson wants to guard whoever's doing so. But right now it's right to make it a 6-point game. So Wright goes up to 6. We haven't seen his three-point stroke tonight, but he's come up with some solid drives to the paint. And now the Zephyrs have to respond again. Lero through traffic, no good. Melzer battling for the rebound, comes up with it. Lero in traffic, finds Melzer, and that would be a jump. Mahtomedi with the arrow. Another tension-filled section final in 4-3A. Lero finds centers. Highlanders with 2 timeouts left, Zephyrs with 3. It's important to exert patience here, even though we have just over 5 minutes to play. 6 points is not a lot. Lero hits the turnaround. Lero goes up to 11. Now, if you're the Zephyrs, you have to find a way to get a stop in some capacity, whether it's a miss or getting a steal. The Highlanders may start looking at killing some clock here, and an offensive foul is called on the Highlanders. Illegal screen. It's on Matthews, his 3rd. Highlanders still with a foul to give, but more importantly, the Zephyrs have a chance to make this a one-possession game. They have not led since the beginning of the second half. Lero lost it. Islanders in transition again. Kelly was the trailer. Lindquist making his move. He draws a foul. And that's the last to give for the Highlanders. That also stops the clock with 4:09.
Team 6, Timmy Lindquist with 2 for the Zephyrs.
But as we've seen, free throw shooting anything but automatic here. Rims have not been forgiving tonight. But we will be shooting free throws the rest of the way, outside of team control fouls, of course. Lindquist gets the back end. So, 5 points. Just over 4 minutes left. And both teams will be in the bonus for the remainder. Hardrict off the feed from right. Hardrict cut his way in for 2. 7-point game. Islanders looking for the dagger play, much like a year ago. But Lindquist has an opening on the baseline and is fouled again. And it will be the 4th on Hardrict. And if you're the Highlanders, again, you really can't go to the bench. You don't have much of one. So Hardrict is going to have to stay in there. Lindquist gets the front end to fall. And makes it a 6-point game. And again, that foul stops the clock. At 3:32, and if you're the Highlanders, that's the last thing you want. You don't want to give any extension to the Zephyrs. Lindquist makes both. Zephyrs 8 of 13. And that's going to be a foul on Lindquist. So Hardrict to the line for 1-1. That will be the 3rd on Lindquist. And as we've seen on the Highlanders end, 7 of 16 at the line. They're shooting under 50%. I don't know if that was intentional on the part of Lindquist, but those are numbers you're willing to take a chance on if you're the Zephyrs here. And that's why. Now, if you're Mahtomedi, you got to be smart. Trail by 5. Still a close one. Lindquist used up the dribble, needs help. And Mahtomedi still in no rush here. They do trail by 2 possessions, so you can't be too cozy here, but you also don't want to throw up a contested shot either. Columbia Heights staying with them. They took a chance there. Lero for 3. Got it! That was a risky pass to Hadley, but it paid off with the triple from Lero. It's now a 2-point game. Lero with his 4th triple. He doesn't want his season to end. Hardrict, the skip to Kelly. Blocked by Hadley. Mahtomedi, they got to bring it up. They do. Hadley, the kick out. 3 on the way. No good. Shay almost had it on the tip in. What do you do if you're the Highlanders? They'll try to drive again. Mahtomedi gets in there for the deflection. So the Zephyrs, well aware of what the Highlanders want to do, Highlanders looking to drive, which they've done so well throughout this game, but they are going to have to hang on to their hats for this one. Behind the back pass and a foul. That will send Matthews to the line. It is a shooting foul. So 2 free throws coming. That's a second personal on centers. Wendell Matthews has struggled from the line. Again, these are not automatic. But if Matthews makes both, it's a 2-possession game. Mahtomedi again came within inches of tying this up at 62 all. But as we saw in the semifinal, a lot can happen. And Matthews ends up splitting. So a 3 will tie it, but you don't necessarily need it with 122. You can take a 2 if there's an opening. Let's see what the Zephyrs decide. Mahtomedi read the pump fake. I should say the Highlanders did. Roberson scores. That might do it. Mahtomedi has not had an answer for him in transition. Lindquist, circus shot no good. Hadley with the O-board. Now they're getting desperate here.
Deundra Roberson, 4th personal, team 8.
Hadley to shoot 2. Even if he makes both, Mahtomedi may have to play foul and chase. He had not scored until that make in the second half. Again, the hero of the semifinals. Heights fans standing. Hadley makes both. The Zephyrs do have 3 timeouts. They elect not to use them. They're going to try to play the foul and chase game here. And the Highlanders have 2, so there are some ways to stop the clock, and that will be a foul on Lero. So Hardrict will have to make at least 1 to make this a 2-possession game. Hardrict missed the front end of the 1-and-1 on his last time up. That's the second foul on Lero, but right now it's the margin that counts. That makes it a 2-possession game again. Hardrict clutch there. If Columbia Heights hangs on and gets to state, their free throw difficulties could be problematic against some of the stronger teams in 3A, but right now they've got to hang on for 45 more seconds. Lero for 3, off the heel. O-board to Shay. He's in trouble. He's got to get it out to somebody. Zach Centers missed the 3-pointer, and that will do it. And Mahtomedi will come close again, but he just didn't have enough. Much like a year ago, that time they were out in front and fell to a Columbia Heights comeback. This time they had a chance to tie it. Jack Shay was inches away from tipping it in and tying this up at 62. Who knows what would have happened, but the transition attack of Columbia Heights, simply too much. The athleticism of the Highlanders will make the difference here. Presuming Kelly makes both these free throws. I just don't see enough time. Curious decision for the Zephyrs to hang on to their timeouts, but I'm not down there. And for the Zephyrs, it was a valiant effort, again, having to make over with a brand new team. Kelly splits, but the Zephyrs need a lot to go their way in a short amount of time, and I just don't see it happening. Lero, nope. Lindquist, no good. So Mahtomedi, having to replace 9 seniors, did so impressively, but it will not be enough against the experienced Columbia Heights team. The Highlanders will return to state. And this time, Roberson will get to participate. He couldn't last year because of the injury in section play. And the celebration is on for the Highlanders. Went through a couple of bumps of their own. It's a young team, or a shallow team in terms of depth, but a tight-knit group. The senior class, they played together for many, many years. And they'll get to go for one last drive back to Williams Arena. Matthews makes both. Inconsequential at this point. The celebration is on. Columbia Heights repeats as Section 4 3A champions. 70-62 the final. Again, great try by Mahtomedi. It just wasn't enough. Deundra Roberson, the leading scorer with 19. Quentin Hardrict with 16. Wendell Matthews responded nicely in the second half, finished with 13. And Christian Kelly with 10. Again, the 6 regulars for Columbia Heights did what they needed to do. Mahtomedi led by Jack Shay, Timmy Lindquist, and Karmoga Lero with 14 each, but they just did not have enough to keep up with the athleticism and the fast break play of the Highlanders. So Columbia Heights will have a chance to redeem themselves after being eliminated in the quarterfinals last year. And for Mahtomedi, it's deja vu all over again. Just 5 seniors this year, but for folks like Timmy Lindquist and Jack Shay, Karmoga Lero, their high school careers in the sport of basketball have come to an end. So we'll stay with you for the award presentation as the Highlanders, the dance-off is on. We had a dance-off at intermission, and it's still going on. They're going to enjoy this award presentation. So we'll keep it here for the medals and then bring you interviews with the winners. This is the Section 4 3A Boys Championship. Columbia Heights wins 70-62.
Contact, please step forward, take your second place medals as your names are announced. Presenting the medal for the Zephyrs is the athletic director, Ray Church. Number 1, Timmy Lindquist. Number 10, Zach Centers. Joe Pelkey. George Pelkey. And head coach Keith Newman. Could the captains please come forward to accept Section 4 for the second place trophy of the great season for the Mahtomedi Zephyrs. It's time to award the first place medals to the Columbia Heights Highlanders. Number 2, Brian Mayfield. Presenting medals for Columbia Heights are Principal Dan Rolski and the athletic director Antoine Harris. Number 3, Jordan Jones. Number 4, Wendell Matthews. Number 5, Quentin Hardrict. Number 10, Deundra Roberson. Number 11, Christian Kelly. Number 12, Heights and Mahtomedi. Number 13, Kent Ogle. Number 20, Jonathan Karmoga. Number 22, Cordell Rapp. Number 24, Amir Davis. Number 30, Josh Deal. Number 32, Jarvis Wright. Number 33, Spencer Alvarez. Student manager Nathaniel Gross.
And I'm joined by Deundra Roberson, and next to him is Quentin Hardrict. Deundra, your head coach talked about you being on a mission this year because you got hurt in the section playoffs last year and couldn't take part, I believe, in the final or the state tournament. What does it mean to you to have an active role tonight?
It means a lot. Last year I didn't really get to play, so I came out on a mission to make sure my teammates and I do what we do to win because we won last year.
And Quentin, maybe you didn't have that motivation per se, but I could tell on the floor you guys were definitely motivated to get back to state. How did you execute your fast break attack so well?
I just listened to Coach Brazil. We practice on the fast break, 4-on-4 in practice, so I just try to be smart on every fast break, and he tells us that to value each possession, so that's what I'm thinking about when I'm dribbling up the court.
Up until the end, every time you got out in front by 6 or 7 points, Mahtomedi had an answer. How resilient was Mahtomedi, and how did you weather all of those counters?
Oh yeah, they're very resilient. They got a young group. They just never gave up.
What was the question?
How did you weather so many of those Mahtomedi counters?
Our crowd, they kept us in it. Our bench, they kept us in it. We kept each other in the game. We stayed focused, we stayed together, and we just fought through it.
And Deundra, you hit the dagger of sorts when you were able to get the run out, and that's something that Columbia Heights does very well. How do you work to become that team that likes to leak out? What do you do to make you so successful at that aspect of the game?
Oh yeah, we run in practice. If we're going to be the fastest, we got to be the fastest in practice and in the game.
Do you run on the track team as well?
No, I'm going to be running track this year.
I was going to say, if you don't, you should consider it because you guys are super fast, and Quentin's another one. Now, on Saturday, you got your 1,000th point here, and you've added a little more to that total, really stepped up in the second half. What does it mean for you to be back at state and get a milestone along the way?
It's big for us. It's big for me. And, this is what we've been working for all year, or since I was a freshman. The goal has been to get here each year, so to go back-to-back, it means a lot.
And your coach also highlighted the friendship that the senior class has. 4 of you start, and he mentioned you guys have played together for years. You all would like to go to college together. How does that friendship, that camaraderie, help you get through the grind of a season?
Just like whenever we hit a wall, we could talk to each other about it. Like during the season, we have our ups and downs, but I know he gonna tell me what I need to do to be better, to play better, and I do the same.
Since we're so close, we can talk to each other about things. So instead of, we don't keep nothing away from each other. So we communicate a lot, and communication is the key for any type of relationship.
What has to happen to make a deep run at state? I know you don't know who you're going to play yet, but what does Columbia Heights have to do?
We got to play our game, run our sets, trust each other.
We just got to stay focused, not listen to the crowd, to the fans. We just got to stay together, and, if we play hard, everything, it will come together.
On that note, you probably don't want to listen to me either. No, I'm kidding. You want to say hi to anybody?
Hi, Mom, sister.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, Mom. Columbia Heights, we did it 2 times.
Hey, we putting Heights on the map again.
See, what happened was they won the section championship 2 times now, back to back. Well, we'll see how far you go in state, but you're at least getting there, and that's a pretty big accomplishment in itself. Congrats on winning back-to-back section titles, and we'll see what you can do at state.
Thank you.
That was Deundra Roberson and Quentin Hardrict, and that wraps up our coverage for the 2017-18 season. We've got some all-star games, but as far as competitive games, we're done. So thank you to all the viewers who watched us throughout the season for high school sports coverage. And until next year, this is Mike Peden. So long, everybody.